Hello, everybody, and of congratulations to the 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West. I am joined by a guest who I will let introduce himself here in just a moment. But before I get started, be sure to like this video. We've been kind of down on the likes on this podcast, so I'm trying to make sure that it gets liked, especially by us Cornell West supporters. If many of us can just like it, of course, watch it. But make sure you like it and make sure you share this podcast. Sharing also helps this podcast kind of pop up in the algorithm. I hope that's the word I'm supposed to use. So share this podcast to as many people as you can. And remember, number one rule of this show, I don't advertise about my own platform. I don't ask you to subscribe because this podcast has just one purpose, and that purpose is to get the best presidential candidate into the White House because literally I feel like this is the only hope we have for the things that we actually want. So remember, also, I don't necessarily jump to comments right away. I wait for there to be several, but still comment. I will do my best to get to them. And before finally I let my guest introduce himself, I will be advertising the website all throughout this podcast. You'll see CornelWest2024.com. Visit the website for Dr. West's platform to donate, to volunteer, to learn about Dr. Abdullah. That is the website you want to go to. And also remember, there is a virtual fundraiser that anybody in the United States or anywhere around the world can attend. There's a website right there. That's a shortened version, but you can attend the fundraiser. It's a virtual one. So once you RSVP with your donation, you'll receive a link via Zoom. We're going to have a lot of fun that evening, so I hope everyone can attend. And that will also be up on the website because trying to get Dr. West on the ballot in all 50 states. Without further ado, I'm going to let my guest introduce himself.
All right. Thank you, Tracy, for having me. Looking forward to the conversation. I go by Johnny P. I'm a father, husband, organizer, regular guy, and I consider myself a very big supporter of Dr. Cornel West. What do you got for me?
Well, you're about to not surprised because this show pretty much works the same way it's always worked. I take 5 to 7 of the, and people say don't say dumb, but 5 of the dumbest things, 5 of the silliest, stupidest reasons that I've heard to oppose Dr. West's candidacy. You say your thoughts, and I always jump in with something new, and we see where it goes, and we take it from there. So, but before we get started with that, tell us briefly why it is that you support Dr. West's candidacy.
Well, so I've known him through, other interviews and, his whole public intellectual persona. Trying to think, the first time I heard of him was at least 20 years ago, maybe more. It might have been Jon Stewart or somebody interviewing him. But just the passion and compassion that he brings to everyday life, highlighting the struggles of marginalized people. And I love to listen to him. I can listen to him for hours. I think not only what he says, but how he says it. And then, of course, most importantly, the policy positions that he's advocating for are really what this country needs. And I think, he's correct to continually call out the derelict duopoly, and love to see him, take it all the way. He's in it to win it, and I'm in it to back him up.
Okay, so we're going to get started off with the number, and I don't go 7 to 1, I go 1 to 7. The stupidest thing, and yes, I'm going to say stupid, audience. Don't say stupid, but these are really stupid, like all of them. Some of them make me angrier than other ones, but this is the one I always hear the most. A vote for Dr. Cornel West is a vote for Donald Trump.
So I actually heard that one this past weekend, hanging out with some friends, and honestly, like I guess I could see, people who are very, I'll say, indoctrinated by establishment politics, truly believe in that when they say that. These are intelligent, good faith people, almost sort of regurgitating the talking points that they've heard from the DNC. But my response is sort of two pronged, right? First being vote shaming, is that's what I hear it called on the internet, right? Anybody who's trying to vote for somebody other than your preferred candidate, we're going to shame you into it. The things that you want will get worse if it's Trump under Biden. But all that vote shaming energy would be much better served trying to move Biden or the Democrats to the left. And the second point is this is the party that is breathlessly declaring how they're defending democracy. Yet every step of the way, they try and limit, true democracy. Their voters will tell you that if you're supporting an independent or a third party candidate, you're throwing your vote away or you're kicking the election to Trump. They really don't want any competition. And we've seen how the DNC operates, right? They didn't run a true primary. They left some of Biden's opponents off the ballot, all these things like that. They don't really want a democracy. They want some kind of coronation for their guy.
See, again, here we go with this. My guests are always nicer than I am. I have this tendency to just say the first thing that comes to my mind. And first thing comes to my mind, you were exactly 100% right. You said it in a way that's easy to understand, very intellectual. I get it. Here's what I say. Joe Biden doesn't know my vote. I'll vote for whoever I want whenever I want. Votes are to be earned. I didn't think he had like a big pile of votes like these are mine. And I'm not going to give them, and you're stealing them. And here's another thing. If you wanted my vote, Democrats, you should just do better. I don't know. It's like they never think of this. They never think, oh, let's have policies that people can actually support. Instead, they do just what you said. They do this vote shaming. Oh, it could be worse than Trump. Trump didn't kick 20 million people off of Medicaid. That was Biden. Trump didn't do this faux pas student loan debt relief. That was Biden. Trump didn't lose Roe v. Wade for people in certain states. That was Biden. So basically, miss me with my vote for Dr. West is a vote for Donald Trump. Take your L, sit down, and shut up. See, I try to be nice. I really try, but when I hear that one, I'm just like, are you serious? Like, nothing you're saying is based in fact. Like, you're saying just an opinion, and they just say it like it's a fact. I'm like, really? Do you have a study to prove this?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's one of those things that you couldn't pay me to vote for Biden. I'll stay home. I'll vote for any of a number of other independents or third party candidates. Biden would be second to last. The only one lower than Biden would be Trump. I'll take a libertarian, like a right wing yellow flag libertarian over Joe Biden.
I just wouldn't vote for president. If all I had was RFK Jr., Donald Trump, and Biden, nope, I'm just skipping down to governor. That'll be the next one. I'll just, you know what? I don't have to vote. I'll just skip. There's like at least 15 people I could name that run for president. And Joe Biden still isn't going to make the list. Of course, I'm not black because I didn't vote for Joe Biden. But hey, let's just not talk about that because he was just too familiar. See, I'm going off track. I'm trying to stay on track. I'm trying to be good, yeah, but I hear this every time. And I'm like, you can't, there's nothing to prove what you're saying. And you're saying it like it's a fact. The sky is blue. That's a fact. Me voting for Dr. West and giving it to Trump is not a fact. It's an opinion. It's a very stupid opinion, but it's an opinion. And again, you could just do better, but that thought never occurs to the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things that energy could be put to more productive use. Whether that's organizing locally or I don't know. The Democrats don't seem to listen to their base, and they especially don't listen to people that aren't in their base. But of all the things that he could be doing better on, you telling me that I'm throwing away my vote or I'm helping Trump get elected is a waste of your breath and my time.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I got 33,000 dead Palestinian reasons why there's nothing you can say to me. Nothing. And to say it, well, that's my other point. I'm going to get to that point. I'm going to save that point because that's a later on down the road argument. But it just amazes me. It's like you get to. That's another point because that's another one that. Nah, I'll get to number two. Okay, so number two, because I'm like, oh, I can't say it, but then it's going to go into another question. This one I hear, and I always forget the order that I put them. You would think I would have sense enough to write these out, but I don't. But number two. This one this one is the fault of certain podcasts. And I'm gonna call them out because I particularly don't care for them. Revolutionary Black Network, Due Dissidence, David Pakman of the world. They could just go. I'm like, stop suggesting these to me, YouTube. I'm never gonna watch these clowns. I'm just never gonna watch them say this one. Dr. West isn't taking his candidacy seriously. And you can tell because it isn't organized.
I personally have not heard that. I think his candidacy is very serious. You know, like he says, he's in it to win it. And as far as organization, I love, the aspects of the campaign that I've seen through volunteering. I think having the four, co-campaign chairs is great. It's much more democratic and horizontal than you would find in other parties. I'm limited with electoral organizing, but I did knock doors and things like that for Bernie Sanders 4 years ago. And I see just as much, if not more, organization with the Dr. West campaign. They've got various platforms for communication. They've got all the petition forms and everything for you. So I find them to be very organized. I find that the policy platforms or pillars are very robust and thought out. So again, I would love to see what their standard of organized is, or show me a campaign that's more organized before I'll listen to that.
And again, my guests are always nicer than me. I ask a couple questions. Have you volunteered? Are you signed up as a volunteer? Do you attend meetings? Have you gathered petitions? Have you donated to the campaign? Don't tell me that someone's not organized the way you want. You're not the one running. If you were the one running, then that's one thing. But you're sitting here playing armchair quarterback, deciding what a campaign should and shouldn't do. You're not on the team. You've made it clear that you're not on the team. So basically, again, you could just miss me with that. You aren't doing anything. You're trying to sway votes to whomever it is you support. And it doesn't make sense. Some of the criticisms, I'm about to get on this tangent because I'm right here. Some of the criticisms of Dr. West are completely, which is another reason why I did this show, they're completely stupid. I'm like, if you don't want to vote for him, I don't see why you wouldn't because I think he's the best candidate. But okay, you can come up with legitimate critiques because I think every campaign can be legitimately critiqued, right? But when you come up with things like you're not organized or you aren't saying what we want you to say, well, why does he have to say what you want him to say? He's him and you're you. Why can't he say what he wants to say? And you can say anything you want after that point.
Yeah, I mean, the campaign has surprised me a couple times. Initially when he launched with Movement for People's Party or whatever, I was less than thrilled. I've not gotten a good impression of them. I never did a deep dive.
Oh, yeah, don't bring it on the People's Party because that one's coming up too.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, what do you want them to do? And there's so many criticism. This one isn't in my questions. But there's so many, well, he shouldn't have taken the money from Harlan Crow. See, now a lot of people going to disagree with me. I'm like, oh, well, I don't see you donating anything. Like, what are you donating? Like, what say do you have? It's not your campaign.
Right. And, the
Oh, and he
exorbitant
did
cost.
give it back. But
Okay. Well, the exorbitant costs of elections make it very challenging, I'm sure, for any candidate to say no to the money. But I'm glad that he did give it back. I wasn't aware either that he took money from Crow or that he had given it back. So I guess that's good to hear.
see, I wasn't. It took a while because I was like, nah, he should have kept it. Told everybody to kiss off. And remember, like, oh, well, you don't like it? There to do. See, because this is why I don't run for office, right? Because if you as a white supremacist want to give black me money to work against you, bring it. My name is spelled Tracy space M space CARSON for president or whatever office I'm running for. That's just me. Now, some people are like you, they felt like he should have given. I'm like, what is he going to do every time? Be like, hey, you can't donate to my campaign. You can't donate. You can't. It's just going to turn into a slugfest or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the money spends either way. I don't think you necessarily want to put a purity test on the money because Dr. West, can't be bought, right? So no matter where the money's coming from, he's going to stand true to his principles, truth, love, and justice.
Right, exactly. Now, and then my other point to that is here Biden is getting literally almost billions of dollars in contribution and nobody says anything. Like, okay, so you're gonna let that slide. But this little $3,300 that could pay like what? Six of my mortgage payments? Maybe six? No, five. No, wait a minute, no. Four. It could pay four of my mortgage payments. We're going to let this slide. RFK raises $50 million. $50 million from what, two or three donors? You have nothing to say. You're okay with that, but this $3,300 supposedly is evil. Okay, again, I'm going to be saying miss me with this foolishness a whole lot because that's my new one.
Yeah, and it's a drop in the bucket compared to those dark money super PACs that can get donations from anybody and use their money any way they see fit.
Yeah, and that's another thing that confuses me though, because I'm sitting here thinking, oh well, the limit is $3,300. Don't know how I didn't know there was dark money. I just didn't like. I'm literally just in the past couple of years learning about dark money. I don't know where I was at. I don't know if I was asleep. I knew there was corporations. I'm like, oh well, they got this limit and they can't give any more. No, that's not quite how it works. Because they're like, well, this pack donated 50 million. I'm sitting there thinking, but the limit is 3,300. Well, that's for an individual. And that's what I wasn't thinking. I literally wasn't thinking. I'm thinking, wait a minute. This is this. Oh, it's a group, not just one. Y'all gotta help your girl, because I really was like, what? And I don't think people know how much it costs to run campaigns, which is why we always ask people to donate at cornelwest2024.com. Support this campaign financially, or you can attend the virtual fundraiser May 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m. by following that link. But I think that's one of the hypocrisies. And here comes another one. Number 3, you walked right into it. Dr. West can't be trusted to run for president because he changes his mind too much. He first started off with the Movement for White People's Party. And yes, again, that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to keep calling it that. Then he moved to the Green Party. Then he went independent, and now he started the Justice for All Party.
Yeah, I would say that Dr. West and the campaign are the best ones to decide, what's going to be a winning strategy for them. Like I said, I got no love for the MPP or the MWPP. Uh, but so I was happy when he changed that. And I do think, from the outside, the Green Party offers some advantages, right? They've got ballot access in a lot of states already. But if he decided that the Green Party wasn't for him, I trust him. Now, of course, the only thing that leaves open is, whoever the Green Party nominates. It sounds like it'd be Jill Stein, but maybe there's some other hopefuls, potentially taking votes away from Dr. West. But again, he gets to make that call. And as far as going from strictly independent to justice for all, I mean, that just made sense in order to get on the ballot in some states. He's a true independent in some states and justice for all in others. And so doing whatever it takes to win, that sounds like the kind of person that you want in the presidency.
Exactly. And everybody remember, I don't see any comments out here except for one. So remember to drop your comments in the comment section. Tell your friends, if you're watching live, tell your friends to tune in. We're trying to get our live views up. So just continue to remember that. I feel like you're exactly right. I mean, I had all kind of problems with the Movement for White People's Party because they had ballot access in 0 states. Like, you're basically just starting from scratch. And now some states are easier to get on the ballot than others, like Louisiana. You basically pay a fee, you file a paper, you're on the ballot. But every state, like the Indianas, the Texas, and the New York states, are very extremely difficult. They didn't have a plan about how Dr. West was going to get on the ballot. They still aren't, to my understanding. Are they even a party anymore? Like, do they even do anything? Like, where are they at? Because, like, the last time I heard Nick Brana was, like, endorsing RFK.
That is surprising, but I mean, nothing should surprise me as far as that guy and that party.
Yeah, and I know with the Green Party, again, things happen where it just didn't feel like it's a good fit. Everything isn't a fit for everybody, right? You have to do what's best for you. Now, is it difficult to get on the ballot in all 50 states? Yes. Who's going to sit here and say, because states purposely, and I mean purposely, make it hard. Now, what state are you in?
So I'm in Illinois. And so the threshold to get on the ballot is 25,000. But with the Democrats in charge here, the campaign is shooting for 1.5 times that, thinking 1 out of 3 they throw out on little technicalities, right? So we're shooting for 37,500. And we just had a call 2 nights ago with the volunteers, working on, pooling resources as far as petitioning and getting more signatures. And we've got 60 days to go. So for me personally, Illinois had to wait until March 26th. When I was on all the volunteer calls, back in the winter and all these states were able to start going, I was chomping at the bit. And I had a lot more availability and free time to be doing, petitioning. Some people are knocking doors. That's not really my style. I'll post up outside the mall and catch people on their way in or their way out. But organizing is tough. Everybody that's volunteering has a full life, probably a job or relationships to manage and all these other things. And so now, my kids' activities take up a lot of the evening time that I would have had, right? We've got baseball 4 nights a week, where in the winter, that was time I could be out there, getting signatures. So we're working hard in Illinois. And we're lucky some of the campaign employees live in Illinois, so they're helping us out as well. So we're trying to get them on the ballot in Illinois.
Yep, and you don't live in Indiana. I think Indiana is the worst state for ballot access. I know Texas has 145,000. We have, let's see, we're saying 38,000 because it's like 37,963. 2% of whatever the Secretary of State has. We have until July 1st. But we couldn't start till January. But of course, we have to have a vice presidential candidate. You all don't. And that's the difference. Some states, for a lot of people that don't know, you can't petition until you name your vice presidential candidate. And Dr. West didn't name Dr. Abdullah until like the 10th of April. So it's only been like 17 days. We've had petitions in our hands and have been able to go. So we're like playing catch up. Um, we're going to get there, but yeah, the states purposely make it hard.
They do. The duopoly does not want a challenge in any form or fashion, and just make it as hard as possible for competition to get on the ballot, limit the choices, and of course their argument, right? I don't see much of a platform from Biden other than I'm not Trump, and Trump's platform is basically I'm not Biden. And if people, had more options, that argument would hold less water. 2020, it seemed like the Democrats spent more energy fighting Bernie and fighting the Green Party than they spent fighting Trump.
That I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm going to go back to 2016 to the Hillary people. Let me start this. Y'all make me sick. First of all, Jill Stein got what, 2% of the vote? Round two, maybe 3%. I'm going to give her 3%. I don't think she got higher than 3%. How do you blame her for your loss? That's your fault. I don't know why the Democrats can't figure this out. It's not going to be Dr. West's fault because that's who they'll blame. Oh, it was if Dr. West hadn't ran. Like, you're two things they're saying. One is if Joe Biden wasn't, or if Dr. West wasn't running, I would somehow vote for Joe Biden. Oh, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I can name at least 8 people that I would vote for. And none of them were named Trump, none of them were named Kennedy, and none of them were named Biden. I got 8 other choices that I could either write in, or if I just wanted to go libertarian for some reason, do that. But they never, it's like instead of looking inward and saying, oh, we didn't do this, this, and this, they want to do, no, them, and them. It's like, have you ever heard of responsibility? Like, do you know what that word means? Because I don't think they know.
Yeah, the 2016 backlash, and I voted third party in 16, and I had some friends that were quite displeased. Like me personally, in a deep blue state of Illinois, by not voting for Hillary is what cost her that election. Like, not at all. And like we were saying earlier, Hillary, Biden, any of them, they're not entitled to my vote. I've got other options I'm going to exercise.
And that's the thing. It's like I live in Red, Indiana. Pretty sure, even though I know Dr. West got a chance, probably, maybe Trump has got a good chance. You voting for Dr. West probably isn't going to affect the outcome. Why don't you just go ahead and vote for him anyway? But I'm like, I've never ran into so many Democrats in a red state. I'm like, where did y'all all come from? Where were you at in 2020 when this was needed? Because I thought Trump won Indiana. Could be me. I might be wrong. But it's just so like, look at yourselves and stop blaming other people. It's your fault we don't vote for you. Yours.
Uninspiring candidates with milquetoast policy platform, and then just poor strategy. I mean, I love people who still, 8 years later will tell you Hillary was right about everything except campaigning in Wisconsin and Michigan, right?
Michigan, yeah. Just forget those two. Just, they're battleground. I don't need to go to them because they literally thought she was going to win it. I mean, even I thought she was going to win. I'm like, oh, Trump has no chance. Well, shows you what I know. But that's it. When you're in that echelon where you think things are supposed to be yours, and how dare somebody from the outside come in and challenge that, yeah, you're going to make it hard. And they make it hard because they're scared. I know I used to have a viewer on this show will say, oh, well, no, they're not scared. Well, then why did they come up with these laws like this? Why did they make it so hard why do we even have to petition in the first place? You should just declare yourself for the presidency, file your papers with the FEC, you're on the ballot, the end of story.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how those rules have evolved over time, right?
Well, it really started with Ross Perot because remember, I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to remember when Ross Perot got like 20% of the vote. He didn't win an electoral vote, but he got 20%. That's when ballot access changed.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's way too big a chunk for the duopoly to take without, and right, they got the Secretary of State and the governorship in every state, so they can change these rules however and whenever they want, and they'll do it to protect themselves.
Yeah, it's just oh my goodness. Um, I just forgot my third point. Oh, this one. Okay, we got some comments in the comment section. Finally. Hello, Nelson. Hope Tracy is feeling well. I am. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I've worked. I feel like I should be getting paid by the campaign. I'm not. I'm just a volunteer. But it's been campaign all day today. It's been a long day. Um, Nelson also says something that I say, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Everyone, please do. Please share this. We're trying to, if you're watching live and you haven't commented, tag your friend, tell them that Tracy's on here. I know I'm not the greatest host, but I try my best. But definitely hit the thumbs up button. It helps us to get in the algorithm. Um, but the next one is kind of related to the first one, but it takes a little different caveat. So, how can I phrase this where it makes sense? So I'll say it in this way. If Dr. West continues to run, the situation in Gaza will get worse. Trump will win, and it's all your fault for voting for Dr. West.
Ah, yeah, that one's tough, right? I do believe that Trump will be a full-throated genocide enabler as opposed to a please bomb more gently, please let in more food, right? Biden could end this with 3 phone calls. He won't. So would you rather have, this is the old, and I believe it started with Malcolm X, would you rather have a wolf that bares his teeth and is a threat as in a conservative, or a fox like a liberal or a Democrat that pretends to do good things but will really stab you and everybody in Palestine in the back in order to please their donors, right? So that, and it honestly seems like it could be hard to be worse than Biden on the genocide. I mean, I understand that he will. For me, I find it infuriating that they won't spend a dime on anything to help the people, right? It's always, who's going to pay for that? How are you going to pay for that? You're going to raise my taxes? But when it's money for a war, just snap your fingers and we've got it. And so this last bill is money for 2 proxy wars and then hitting the gas pedal on their new Cold War with China and a TikTok ban. And that came through. That's got to be the most votes that the Senate has had yes on in a long time. They got 79 votes for all this funds to bomb a caged population because the client state needs to maintain a presence. And we all know what that is. That's just empire, right? Needs to keep a foothold there because that's a region that they know they want to go into at a second's notice whenever they feel the urge.
It's ridiculous. First, I'm always going to say this. Apparently, you're a fortune teller because Trump is going to be worse. He may be, well, I don't think he's going to go to jail. I don't know how you could, I'm not going to say I don't know how you could be worse. But I'm looking at Biden and he's like literally lying to the American public. He's lying, saying, "Oh, I want a ceasefire," but he says for 6 weeks. What does a 6 week ceasefire do? Like, what is that going to do? Is Israel going to keep it? No, no, and no. In terms of saying it's going to get worse, yes, maybe. Maybe it could. But Trump isn't the one that's president. Biden is. I know what's happening when Biden is president, right? I know that he's the one that went around Congress not once, not twice, but 3 times to give Israel more money than it asked for. That's what I know. I can't predict the future, so I don't know what Trump would do. Yes, it could be worse. It could be. But I know what it is now, right? I know that there are people in Gaza that are literally starving now. That's what I know. And I can't I can't understand why people are so accepting of it. Because if the shoe were reversed, if the shoe were Donald Trump was president and this were happening, the Democratic Party would have a hissy and a fit. Literally. Technically. But it's okay when our guy does it because of whatever reason they're coming up with.
Well, it's like everything else, alternating red team, blue team for generations has gotten us nowhere. I have the belief that every president we've ever had has been the worst president that we've ever had, including both of these guys, and which, if either Trump or Biden gets a second term, they will be the new worst president that we've ever had. Because
But
every
democracy. But democracy.
But right, every president comes in on some kind of platform of change. They will normalize whatever the previous president did. They'll either claim we don't have enough votes in the Senate or whatever it is. Look at Biden and the border. In 2020, it was Trump's locking kids in cages at the border. But now that he does it, liberals won't say a mumbling word. And so every president normalizes some terrible things the previous administration did and then creates new problems. And you can see that with Biden and hitting the gas pedal on the proxy wars in Ukraine and here. And I guess the other thing about Gaza and the genocide getting worse under Trump, I don't know, maybe resistance at home would be, worse under Trump presidency. We saw lots of other things that get ignored when a Democrat is in office get a lot more attention when a Republican is in office. So maybe there'd be more of a resistance. Again, it's unlikely that the ruling class is going to listen to that resistance, no matter what form it takes. But yeah, like you said, they don't have a crystal ball. You don't know that it's going to get worse. But that also sort of concedes my vote is going to tip the scales to Trump. I mean, I still think this campaign is lightning in a bottle. And when enough people get a big enough taste of Dr. West, I think people are going to come in droves. People are going to be disaffected with Biden and Trump.
And it's his platform. If you go to, I'm going to talk about this website because I said it was going to be up. If you go to Cornel West 2024, you are going to read the best platform I have ever read in my entire life. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Dr. West supporter. But literally, and I say this every show, I don't mean to offend anybody in the Green Party. I hope you don't take this offensively. But when he left the Green Party, his platform got so much better. I don't know who he talked to. I don't know who he consulted with. I don't know. But I know when I read things like a $27 hour minimum wage with conditions for people that live in higher costs areas, I don't know anybody saying that. I literally don't know anyone that's saying that. Dr. West talks about moving beyond Medicare for all. I mean, we barely got Americans saying that they want just Medicare for all, and he's talking about moving beyond that. You can't find it. I can't. I don't know if you can't. I can't find anything that I'm like, now this is just not going to work for me. Every single platform issue, I'm like, yes, I'm in agreement with it. Yes, yes, this is what I need. Go to Joe Biden's page. Any of you Biden supporters, because I know y'all watch this show on the sneak. Um, because you keep telling me to stop doing it, but I'm not. Um, Go to Joe Biden's page and tell me what he wants to do for 2025 and beyond. You're not going to find it, newsflash. There's literally nothing on there. He might as well just have big red words to say, I am not Trump. And Trump might as well have big words to say, I am not Biden. And who knows what RFK will have. He'll just say whatever is on his mind. He'll say whatever. But you can't, to say that Trump will or won't do anything or he's fascist, tell me why Biden isn't fascist. I'm serious. I keep asking this question. Everybody's like, he's not a fascist. Well, how's he not? Everything he's done is saying he's a fascist. Unless I'm just seeing it and I'm just not, I'm just not always there.
Yeah, I mean, that F word is a tough one that gets thrown around a lot these days. And I've heard Dr. West, this was before he was a candidate, describe Trump as a neo-fascist, right? I mean, we're not talking 1930s Italy anymore, nor are we talking the Third Reich. So depending on how you want to define fascism, they're both, Biden and Trump are fascists. Or if you want to give Biden a little bit of credit, you could say that Trump is a neo-fascist and Biden and the Democrats are neo-fascist enablers, right? Anytime the far right or fascism specifically has risen to power in any given country, it's because they've had a weak opposition. And truthfully, when liberals are forced with the choice of fascism or socialism, they always choose fascism. They'll put their hands up and say, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. And it, again, I don't trust a lot of liberals when they use that as an insult against Trump, right? Again, if you want to defend democracy, if you want to stop Trump, if you want to stop fascism, then you need to seriously look at the way you're governing and the way you're running this campaign. I mean, as far as I know, Biden is afraid to campaign in person because he gets shouted down by pro-Palestinian supporters everywhere he goes, and that's good. He was on the west side of Chicago back in November, and I was there. I got there early. I was right front and center. He was at some fundraiser, and we actually saw the motorcade come pulling up. But we were at a four-way intersection, and in front of us were the cops, and behind them in the building was the fundraiser. But as far as I could see behind me, as far as I could see to the right, as far as I could see to the left, and this was across 4-lane roads, it was wall-to-wall people, further than you could see in every direction. It got almost no coverage, and the coverage that I did see said it had 2,500 people.
And you can tell goodwill is more than 2,500. I bet you it was like 5-6 times more than what they said.
Absolutely. And that was the most police I've ever seen in my whole life, because the party that's defending democracy does not want to hear people raise their voice and express their dissent.
And you hit it on the nail. And I think that's what makes me so angry, because I'm like, people, look at what you're doing. You keep voting for red team, blue team, but what are you getting? 61% of Americans, including me, live paycheck to paycheck. Our mortgages are too high. 20 million people got thrown off of Medicaid for literally no reason. Oh, because the pandemic is over. Let me backtrack that. Biden gave a reason, a terrible one. When you have the authority to write an executive order to put everyone on Medicaid, you won't do that. And let's not get to my other point. You're responsible for selling weapons to give a country money to buy weapons from you. Not one time, not 2 times, but 3 times. We are in wars that just, like, we could be using that money. I mean, I believe in monetary theory. That's me. I know everybody doesn't believe that. But if you just want to think about it, the money that we gave to Israel, if we gave 10% to the American people, just 10%, that's $10 billion. We have a homelessness crisis in this country that I haven't heard anybody but Dr. West address. I haven't heard it from the Green Party. I haven't heard it from PSL. I haven't heard it from anyone that says, I want to eliminate homelessness. Nobody. But you're going to tell me about what Trump could do? He's not president. He's not president. So, yeah, and I agree with you. He's definitely afraid. And Joe Biden's a terrible debater. Can we say that he keeps saying he wants to do it? Don't you debate. No, you need to get out of it. Don't you debate, because that's going to be bad news for you. I mean, Trump is terrible too, but he's, no. I'm like, no, we don't want to see this.
Trump used to be a great debater, at least entertaining. I mean, terrible policies, terrible politics, but the way he used to just lay people out and bait people, he's definitely lost a step or two or three. But Biden doesn't want to debate because Dean Phillips, Marianne Williamson, and there was at least another.
Jake Younger.
Yeah, didn't get a debate in the primary because the DNC declared there was no primary because they don't want Weekend at Bernie's Biden to have to get on stage.
And that's what makes me so mad. I'm like, and you'll say this to Blue MAGA, because I think Blue MAGA is worse than Red MAGA in some regards. Because I'm like, if the Republicans did what the Democrats did in no debates, because credit to where credit is due, at least the RNC did have a debate. Trump didn't show up to any of them, but hey, they had them. They were there. Okay, they all dropped out, but I'm saying at least they were there, right? If the Republican Party did what the Democrat Party did with no debates, having states like basically print the name on the primary ballot, or one state, I think it was Florida, didn't even have a primary. I'm like, are y'all serious? Y'all serious with this? And then you wonder why turnout is low. Gee, I don't know why. Let me think about this. I mean, like, again, I think what makes me so mad is Blue MAGA will excuse everything Joe Biden. No, I'll say it this way. They're so focused on how evil Trump is, they won't see the evil that Biden is doing. And it's literally right there in their face.
Yeah, Blue MAGA is a good name for them. And I agree. They are in a lot of ways worse than original flavor MAGA. They are just as cultish, but with a weaker cult leader. And, I don't know, very short memories in Blue MAGA. They don't recall how unpopular Biden was in the 2020 primaries. He came in like 5th in Iowa, and he was doing terrible until the puppet masters, pulled the strings and got everybody to drop out.
Said, no, you can't criticize Obama, not on this show, and be black. Because if you criticize Obama and you're black, you're a sellout for some reason. I don't know how that happens, but Johnny P, you're not black. Sorry, I'm having flashbacks. I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks. I'm sorry, flashback. Continue.
No, I mean it's laughable how Blue MAGA, that is, will refer to original flavor MAGA as a cult and how the people are brainwashed, yet no self-awareness and, no realization that the behavior is eerily similar on both sides, right?
Exactly. And they always bring up January 6th. Well, it wasn't us that stormed the Capitol. Look, you don't got to storm the Capitol to be in a cult, right? You can have... There are children still in cages, and I'm going to get to my next one because we got some comments in the comment section. You can, if you don't believe me, I think I made this point on Facebook, and I said, I hope all you Democrats know that there are children in cages today. There are still children in cages today. 10 people said, prove it. I'm like, are you serious? Somebody accused me. Let me tell you something, Dr. West, if you're watching this. I know you don't watch it, but that's okay. I'm going to say it to you anyway. I have literally been called every name in the book for supporting Dr. West. A Russia bot, an idiot, stupid, ignorant. I'm like, okay. Like, that'll convince me to vote for your God. Okay.
Yeah, any dissent is a Russian bot. That's a little played out at this point, but they don't seem to mind. Just double down, double down, double down.
It's Joe. Let me get to the comments because I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep moving because I'm taking all your time. Let me just breathe out. Okay. So rude by way MC. I feel like I've seen your name before, but you'll have to remind me. Congratulations, 47th, the most enjoyable podcast you haven't seen yet. That's how I share the show. Thank you for sharing this show. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Everybody else do the same, please, because we need this every place we can get it. He also says, your point, money for war, but nothing for the poor. Increasingly becoming the majority. Tupac rapped about that. That was what he said. They just signed it. Like where did this? But you said we didn't have any money. But yet but somehow you have this. Um, Biden has people hungry in Gaza and back home. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that is so true? Hello, everyone. In case we don't need it or want neither. Okay, let me read this over again. Hello, everyone. In this case, we don't need or want neither one. We need Dr. West. Keep hope alive. Our time is running out. Thank you for that, Kevin Thomas, and welcome to the podcast. And he also asks, Tracy, at some point in the show, can you let us know the different ways to donate on fundraising night? Yes, I'm glad you said that because May 10th, 2024, this me personally as a Cornel West supporter is hosting a virtual fundraiser. So virtual means it's not just restricted to people in the state of Indiana. You can come if you're in California, Illinois, Kentucky, Hawaii, Alaska, Maine. I'm not going to name all the states, but you get my point. Go to that site right there and register. I'm leaving it up there a little bit longer so that people can get their pencils and pieces of paper and write that down. I think it's in the description section. I might not have put it in there, but I'll go back. But that is one of the one of the ways that you can donate to the campaign because we need Dr. West on the ballot in every single state. Every last one of them. Not just one and some and none. No. Every state in this union needs Dr. West on it. And by contributing to the campaign, you'll make sure you'll help us like I'm running. You'll help the campaign do that. Because sometimes I feel like I'm running, but I'm not. I'm definitely not running for anything, no time. But be at the fundraiser on the 10th. It's going to be hilariously fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. I have 2 games planned. Now that I'm on this spiel about the fundraiser, I'm going to just stay on it for a little bit so I can keep this link up. We'll have Who Knows Dr. West the Best, and another game, How Well You Know the Platform. Those will be the 2 games that we'll have. We're going to have a lot of fun. I know it's a Friday evening, but it's 7 p.m. It's not like, you doing something. You're not. So come on here to the fundraiser, and I hope that answered your question, Kevin. But I'll be bringing that up again. So the next one, okay, this one I don't even understand where it came from. Because sometimes I think people are literally paid by the DNC to say the stupid stuff that I'm like, is y'all getting a paycheck? Because y'all saying some real dumb stuff here. The next one, Dr. West is only running for president because this is a vanity campaign.
Wow. No, I have not heard that one yet.
You haven't watched Jim Carville?
No, definitely not. My politics are a little bit left of Dr. West, so my content is also quite a bit left of his. So they have different critiques of Dr. West, or they're not focused on electoral politics at all. I'm on that collective liberation. So the people that I organize with, for the most part, don't look at electoral politics. I do. I feel like electoral politics is the only that 99% of the population understands politics. So if you're not looking at electoral things, you're missing out on that huge chunk of the population. And Dr. West is the most inspiring candidate of my lifetime, with, as we've said repeatedly, the best platform that any candidate has ever brought up, the most robust, justice-focused campaign, and it's really what we need at this moment. So as far as a vanity project, I don't believe a vanity project would be centering the marginalized and oppressed people. A vanity project would not be calling out the deep, deep hypocrisy of the derelict duopoly. And it doesn't make sense. At 70 years old, he's running a vanity campaign. Like I said, I haven't heard that one, so I don't have a better response, but absolutely not from my perspective.
That's the perfect response. And I'll add this. If he were running a vanity project, he should have just ran as a Democrat. Like, seriously. He could have just ran as a Democrat, not been on the debate stage, not get to engage in, and then get out and vote or get out and support Biden. That's the other one we got too. So this is a new one. This is a new one that most viewers haven't heard yet. I keep hearing this one. Well, Dr. West is going to drop out of the race and endorse Biden. And I'm so glad you laughed. I'm so glad you laughed because I've had arguments with people. I'm like, no, he's literally said he's in the race until November. What else do you want him to do?
Yeah, I would be absolutely shocked if he did that by endorsing Biden. But honestly, the only scenario I could see doing that is if Biden promised to carry out a bunch of things, which isn't going to happen. I mean, we saw what happened when Biden promised the Bernie people. I mean, we've already known that Biden is a liar. He's been a liar his whole 50 years in.
He did get arrested for protesting with Nelson Mandela. Don't you know that? He was in the civil rights movement. He marched with Dr. King. It was him that wrote the I Have a Dream. See, people don't know that, right? Dr. King did not write the I Have a Dream speech. It was Joe Biden. Telling y'all better look it up.
Yeah. You must engage with a lot more people on this than I have, because when I'm out petitioning, I get a lot of, I've never heard of them. Like, I've not heard anybody attack them. It's mostly I haven't heard of them, or occasionally you'll get you guys are just going to let Trump win. Right? Like, the original flavor MAGA is, they'll tell you, no, I'm voting for Trump. But actually, some of them, you can say, well, you can still vote for Trump. Just help us give people another choice. That argument works better on Republicans than it does on Democrats, because they don't want people to have another choice.
And exactly, it's like I was saying, like, if you, as the Democrats, don't want people to run, just admit you're scared. Well, no, you're not going to do that. That would be silly. But it's all out of fear, because if Joe Biden weren't scared, or his supporters, if you know that your candidate is out here doing perfect job, you could say, I come on Facebook because this is where I get it from. And I'll say, well, Joe Biden's a clown. He's the worst president. Well, I said Obama's the worst president of my lifetime. So Biden would be like a close second or third. Oh, well, you're just a Trump bot. Okay, tell me what Biden has done. Crickets. Crickets. So they know he's terrible. Like, they know he's terrible. There are literally people I've run into that will tell me, yeah, everything you said was right, but.
So it's a mixed bag, right? As terrible as some of them are, it's not a monolith. So some of them know he's terrible. Some of them are really drinking the Kool-Aid and believe that he's good. A lot of people, Democrats, well-intentioned people, maybe too much MSNBC or what have you, New York Times.
Oh, you mean MSDNC?
Exactly. I've said that many times myself. Thank you. But like, they think he's actually doing good things on the climate. They will point to the IRA, that Inflation Reduction Act, and say, this is the most historic piece of climate legislation that's ever passed. I was at my congressman's town hall right after they passed that, and he was up there cheesing on this like it's a great accomplishment. And I'm like, this is not so much a achievement of the current Congress as an indictment of the previous 10 Congresses that you've been a part of, because they've never done anything. So they want to act like over a 10-year span, we're going to spend 4 months of the military budget on climate. How does that make sense? And we're still going to pretend to call it an existential crisis. 4 months of military budget to last 10 years, and you want to pat yourself on the back about how historic this is. Like, when you're running against all these other terrible Congresses, anything would be historic. And so people hear these things and take them out of context, and then they don't want to hear, or they tune out the arguments against them when you point these things out.
You have literally said it. I wish we were Facebook friends. I tell literally every time I post something about Dr. West, because like for a month straight, I said I'm not posting anything but Dr. West. I don't care what it is. I'm just gonna bring it back to West, trying to get the word out. Because you can't just use social media. That's what I want to tell people. You should just run a social campaign. Yeah, social media is important, but you got to get out there and talk to people. But as long as I have the platform, might as well use it, right? So I post this to the site, CornelWest2024.com. Not only do they call me, you're voting for Trump, not only can they not tell me what Biden has done, but I run into the people that will tell me, oh, well, the genocide, Biden is terrible for that, but. And I'm like, there's no but to it. He's terrible for what he's doing to the people in Gaza. Period. There's no but. There's no word you can say after that that's going to make genocide okay. And I've been told I want too much.
Yeah. See, it's funny, again, the lack of awareness with both flavors of MAGA, and they don't really realize it. But from my perspective, both major parties are just offering a managed decline of empire. They have no positive program. There is no way out of this. I could imagine that Dr. West, part of the platform is dismantling the empire. No more acting unilaterally. No more of this, America gets to do whatever it wants so it can continue to exploit every other country in the world. And again, both of the major parties will say it'll be worse under them. We know it gets worse under both parties. You could flip a coin over which one will get worse faster.
Right, and I say this all the time too. They only pretend to be enemies on TV. Because if you look at how they vote, has any congressman or senator, including Bernie Sanders, AOC, name any of them, have any of them ever voted against the military getting more money? Any of them. I challenge any Democrat that's watching this show, because again, I know you all watch it because you call me silly for doing this podcast, but oh well, suck it up, buttercup. Find me a Democrat or Republican that has ever, within the last, let's see, Reagan became president when I was 6. 10. No, Reagan became president when I was 6. Jimmy Carter, wait a minute, I'm trying to think. I don't know which year Reagan became president, but I was 6.
1980.
So 1980. Thank you. I was like, no, wait a minute. Now carry the 6 and subtract. Okay, so from 1980 until 2024, you name me one congressman, senator, or president that has ever voted against an increase of the military. And I'll have $100 for you because I can't name them.
Well, I know, like, the squad or the fraud squad, depending on what you want to call them, they'll take these performative no votes when they know it'll pass anyway. And that's about the limit of it.
No, I said vote against, not be present, because that's a coward's vote. Like, either vote yes or no. Don't. If you're gonna stand on something, like say Marjorie Taylor Greene, don't agree with anything she's ever said, but you know how she's gonna vote. I don't think she's ever voted president. Like, don't be a coward. If you're gonna vote for the military budget increase, just vote for it, and then, well, I'm going to not get into why my congressman has not had a town hall in the 6 years he's been in office, but I'm not going to touch that. Because I'm like, your congressman actually had a town hall meeting? What is that?
Yeah, terrible politics, but he's like that Biden style where you get out and shake hands and slap backs and all that. They'll get them up there with the state senators and the state representatives. And again, this is Chicagoland. All our congressmen are generic cookie cutters, rubber stamps for Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer.
It's like at least like I said, it just show me one that has ever voted against a military budget increase. But you'll have Joe Biden that says, if Medicare for all gets to my desk, I'll veto it. There's no way to pay for it. Hey, Joe, I got a suggestion for you. Come here, Joseph. Joseph, come here. Why don't you cut military spending? Who are we at war with? You all say we're not at war. You could close some of the military bases down. You could decrease the military. I mean, what are we saying? You can find again money for war, but not for the poor.
Yep. Well, and the other
And just
thing,
find it. I mean, just find it. Just be like, oh, look, there's $60 billion here. Homelessness. Oh no, we don't got enough. No.
well, that's because homeless people serve a very important function in the status quo. Everybody who's got to suck it up at a job that they don't like, that doesn't pay them enough to get by, you need to be able to see homeless people or the unhoused and know that you better suck it up and do that job because there is nothing for you. If you're not out there working for it, you are at the mercy of the tyranny of the market. So they can't end homelessness because then they would give people an option besides a job that they hate. So again, you're never going to get something as bold as Dr. West from some tippy-toeing Democrat because, I don't think they even, again, lack of self-awareness, I don't think they're aware that there's a reason why they can't end it. They would tell you, oh, well, that's rainbows and sunshine, but really it's not. Like other
It's
countries.
definitely not. It's definitely not. When I visited Paris years ago, I literally didn't see any homeless people. I didn't see anybody with a sign in French, although, yeah, I do. I know some French, but it's kind of waned in the years. I didn't see that. You come to this country and you have veterans. I mean, veterans. That's the one that makes me sick because these people have literally sacrificed themselves to fight in useless wars, and this is how you treat them. This is what you do to them, but you're exactly right. Because if you don't have homeless people, right, you're not gonna. It's like, oh well, wait a minute, I don't want to end up like that guy. But then you have people that have jobs and are sleeping outside their plants because they can't afford an apartment. There's no, there's nothing from the Democrats that says how they're going to address it. Heck, I don't even think they think it's a problem. I just think I don't, either they don't know because they're either incredibly stupid. No, they're not stupid. They know exactly why they're doing it.
Yes, they do. And the other thing I want to bring up about the military budget, right? You see the stat or the fact brought out a lot that not only do we have the largest military budget in the world, it's larger than the next 10 countries combined or whatever it is. If you added up municipal, county, and state police all up for the country, we would have the first and the third largest military, right? That's what the police are from my perspective, is an occupying army. But so we have the world's largest military in the world to keep the imperial periphery at bay, and we have the world's third largest military to keep us, the civilians, here at home.
Exactly, exactly, and that's just oh my goodness, I just can't believe people. I'm like, it's right there in your face. Until you vote different, you're gonna keep getting the same thing. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They only pretend to be enemies on TV because they vote the same way. They take money from the same people. We're not going to get things like that are human rights, like housing is a human right, education is a human right, healthcare is a human right, but we're not going to get it from Trump because who knows what literally goes by the last person that talked to him. So you may get him to do it if that's like the last person that talks to him. But when you get a presidential candidate that says expand the awful Affordable Care Act, which is garbage, Don't start me on that. I could go a whole hour about why this act is garbage, but I won't. Because again, Johnny P's got to do other things to do than sit here and talk to me and listen to me. So I'm not going to do that. But you've got to vote different. We have, again, to me, the best candidate out there. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure people know about him.
Absolutely.
And we got some more comments. Nelson says the only vanity that Cornel has is to take power away from the corporate machine and give the people what they have been denied too long. Amen to that, Nelson. Kevin says we hope not because it's. Oh, this is Dr. West is running this a vanity project. I just don't understand with all Biden has messed up, there would be any supporters, me neither, because I'm literally like, that's insanity in all of this. Kevin, we are siblings now. Because that's literally like, I'm like, y'all seeing it and you still gonna vote? You still gonna vote for this guy? Really? Really? For real?
When you accept the false choice framing that every issue falls under, and right, the false binary, you're either a Democrat or a Republican, then they do see him as a win. Or I've heard people call Biden the most progressive president of their lifetime. And I mean, I guess you could say so, but only because the need is so high, right? He's more progressive than, say, Clinton or Obama or any of the Republicans. So, of course, more progressive by that standard. It's like the climate thing. You're comparing him to non-progressives. And again, everything that he did that was actually helping people was temporary during the pandemic.
Right. It's like the tax credit. That's the one I think anchors me the most because it benefited so many people. I don't have any children myself, so I never was going to get it. But I can see the good that it was doing for people to have that money in their hands. And when it went away because Joe Manchin, oh, well, we can't do anything. But what do you mean you can't? You're president. You have this thing. It's called the bully pulpit. And that's another thing that Dr. West talks about using when things don't go his way. Use the bully pulpit. I'm not trying to get you ideas because trust me, I want you to lose in spectacular fashion because I don't care anymore. It's like, oh, well, I don't care anymore. I hope you lose, Biden, so terribly bad because you literally have given us nothing. Nothing have you given us. And for me, it's like, oh well, you lose. Gotta take that L because I can't stand by and just watch people suffer, and we're suffering in this country. I mean, I don't know how it is in Illinois, but I'm pretty sure it's the same way as it is here. People are scraping to get by, scraping.
Yeah, a lot of people tune that out, though. We've got all the various ways that our consumer society is giving people to kind of numb and tune out. That and most people experience their neighbors through the lens of social media. So you get the curated highlight reel. So the people that are suffering don't want to put that out there that they're suffering or they're paycheck to paycheck or what I forget what percentage of the Americans they say can't handle a $400 unplanned expense. And
that would be me. And you try to save, but you know what happens? This thing called life. And I wish that's what the Democratic Party. This is why I'm so glad that Dr. West is running. Because he gets it. Right? He gets, hey, there's some things that we can do that we're not doing. And it's not because the people don't want them. It's because we're in a system that does not want it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes back to the Democrats breathlessly defending democracy. It's never been a democracy, and it is unlikely to be a democracy in the future. Right? Democracy for who? The country was founded, and you only got to vote if you were a white man with land. And slowly, as they've cemented control over the voting population, you let more and more groups vote. But is it really a democracy when you pull the lever every 4 years or 2 years or right? I even vote in the primaries, off-year primaries, where there's nothing but municipal people running unopposed. But again, is that a democracy when you get to vote twice a year? Or your representatives? The system was set up for a House representative to represent 50,000 people, I believe, and now they represent
Million.
900,000 in
Yeah,
some states.
900,000, a million, depending on what city you live in. Well, if it's that many, you probably have two. You probably have two representatives. And don't start me on gerrymandering. And don't start me on black people having to get their rights to vote renewed every 25. See, that is who you shouldn't have started at, Johnny P. Because I'm telling that is just the most frustrating thing. Is how do you renew my rights every 25 years? I'm a citizen. You take enough of my tax money. Why can't just make them permanent? I'm either a citizen or I'm not a citizen.
Every concession from the ruling class can be taken away on a whim. And, obviously I wasn't around for the civil rights movement, but I was around for the 2020 George Floyd uprising. And that was the largest mobilization in the history of the country, if not the world. And what did we get for it? We got Biden. And what did he give us?
Oh, no, they were blaming Tim Scott for that. See, it was Tim Scott's fault. He's the one that walked away from the table. Like, these people don't know what a mirror is. Take a mirror, look at it, look at your face and say, it's my fault.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything they were proposing was trash, but they couldn't even get what they were proposing. And so we got Juneteenth as a federal holiday. And
Well, we wanted reparations. Yeah, I want reparations. You gave me Juneteenth, a holiday I've always celebrated. Like, I didn't need the federal government to make it a holiday. I'm going to celebrate Juneteenth. Or Hip Hop Month. Yep, that'll do it. That's great replacement. Oh, it wasn't Harriet Tubman supposed to be on the back of the $20 bill? Because that hasn't happened either.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one in a while, but they kept delaying it and delaying it and delaying it. But again, even that, what is that? Performative? Like,
performative.
Any issue that the people or the left gets behind gets co-opted by the Democrats, right? And then it becomes just this rallying cry. So not only do you get nothing from the Democrats, you get nothing while they anger and fire up the right? They're calling this stuff woke. It's all just words on paper. It's not anything that impacts the material conditions of people's lives.
Exactly. Like I said, I wanted reparations. They gave me Hip Hop Month. I wanted Medicare for all. They gave me the Affordable the Affordable Care Act. That's not what I wanted. But I'm supposed to be. The Democrats and their supporters will tell me, "Oh, you should be happy. You should be happy with the $10,000 student loan debt." When I know good and well any president has the ability to erase all of it.
So that's a perfect example. Biden in a nutshell. The student loan relief that he has done, and if you're in this group that he waived your debt, I'm sure this was life-changing. And it is good things, but it is a huge problem, and we're going to settle for just a little sliver off the top. And when he did that, the Republicans are already calling it Biden's socialist tax, or student loan relief. And so they're going to demonize you whether you do this little tippy toe and milky toast half measure or you do the whole thing. So if you were really for the people, you would do it the whole way, and you would take that socialism cry on the chin and tell you, yes, I did it, and I did it because people are suffering. And I mean, that student loan debt is, I can't understand why that doesn't make more sense. People who are paying $400, $500, $700 a month, if you took that money away, what could they do with that $400, $500, $700 a month? That would stimulate the economy that they're always talking about. You have a consumer economy, and most of your consumers don't have any money to spend.
You said, I wish that there was somebody that could take what you just said, and just loop it and make it a short on my channel. Because that's exactly it. And let me add this. He means tested it. It was $10,000 and $20,000 if you had like a Pell Grant. Why means tested? Just tell the Secretary of Education, forgive the loans. It's not a long-winded conversation. It literally takes picking up a pen. See, let me backtrack this, Joseph. Let me talk to you. You pick up this thing called a pen. Now, a pen is something you write with. You tell the Secretary of Education to sign their names and forgive the student loan debts. But you want me to be satisfied with 10,000, and sure, to the people that it helped, great for them. But there are some of us that $10,000 isn't going to help us. And we want to go back to school. We want to, like me, complete their bachelor's. Can't afford to go back because education is too high. You can't have free education because the military can't use free education to recruit people into the, oh, don't let me start. I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to do this today. I'm just going to get to the last one because, can't have free education because now the military loses its ability to say, hey, we'll give you free education to fight more useless wars. But hey, that's just me thinking out loud. Okay, so I have taken up way too much of Johnny P's talk. But I promise this is going to be the last one. Last one, probably one that it makes me scratch my head. And we've talked about this one. A vote for Dr. West is a wasted vote.
Absolutely not. Right? I will put my vote in the not Trump, not Biden category. And it is on paper, it's on the news when they report the election. It is not a waste to tell the duopoly that I, for one, am over it and will never vote for either of you again.
See, again, my guests are always more classier than I am. Because I'm like, you want to waste your vote? Keep voting for the same thing and expect different results. Like you want something different, but you keep voting the same way. Like they're all of a sudden go wake up. You're like, you know what? These people are right. We need Medicare for all. It's not going to happen because you keep voting for them. Stop voting for the duopoly. They don't like you. They don't care about you. It's like, if I'm just going to say how I know how to say it. They don't like you. If they did, we'd be a whole lot better off. If we had at least Medicare for all or at least student loan debt, we'd be miles ahead of where we are right now. They don't like you. They don't care about you. They sell you out to corporations. They're at the will and beckoning of corporations. Get involved with the one campaign that I know that is against both Gaza and for strengthening America, because that's what we need. We need Dr. West in the office. John P., last question, and I promise this is the absolute last question. What is, and you talked about this, I think, but you're in Illinois. So what is it that you all are doing to get your little, I'm saying your little because we have more than you all do, the 25,000? Are you close? Are you far away? Or where would you say that you're at?
I haven't heard an updated number, but I know we got a lot of work to do. We got 60 days left. We're only 30 days in. The March 26th is when we can start. So there's a lot of work to be done. We are reaching out to people, who have told the campaign they want to volunteer. We're doing that 100 signature challenge. If we can get 250 people to get 100 signatures each, there's a 25,000, and there's 800 some people that have expressed a willingness to volunteer for the campaign just in Illinois. So we have the numbers. We just need to mobilize them.
Yep, that's the same thing here. Well, everybody, this has been probably one of the most enjoyable conversations I've had. I know I went on a personal rant, which I did not mean to do, but well, you get me talking about reparations and the military and not free education. I'm just gonna fire off, and I didn't mean to do that, so I'm gonna definitely apologize to you, sir, for that. But in conclusion, definitely, absolutely, positively, go to CornelWest2024.com. Learn about the campaign. Volunteer for the campaign. We cannot get Dr. West on the ballot in all 50 states without you volunteering. We need volunteers. The campaign has not stopped me yet from saying this, so I'm going to keep saying it. We need volunteers. Absolutely, positively need volunteers. If you want to donate, you also can go to the site previously, but remember there is a virtual fundraiser May 10th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are 3 contribution levels. There is $10, $20, and $50. All the money raised goes to ballot access so that we can get on the ballot in all 50 states. That is the goal. That is the mission. Remember, everybody, we got one more this comment I gotta show it because I love this. Um, the only wasted vote will be the one not casted for Dr. West. You couldn't have said it any better than I could have, Kevin. That is absolutely the truth. But remember, please share this show. I'm still doing my share this show challenge, and no one has taken advantage of that just yet. Share this show on your social platforms. We need to get up to 300 if we have any shot of getting our candidates to actually appear on this show, which you all keep asking me this, and I keep saying I'm at that low number and I want to be at a much higher number when I make the approach for them to be on here. So share this podcast, share it, share it, share it, like this page. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe because you'll end up doing that anyway, but share this podcast, share it, like it, comment on it. Thank you. Have a fantastic evening. Thank you, Johnny P, for your time, your patience. Again, apologies because I just went way off, but I'm going to try to do better. I really am going to try to do better. Have a great evening, everybody, and see you all later.